Welcome to my kitchen, Gigi's Kitchen. Today we're going to do a very comforting meal, and I've got the Instapot out. It's ready to go, and I've got everything ready. So I think we ought to just dive in and let's cook. We're going to make some red beans and rice. We're going to do the red beans in the traditional Louisiana style. We're going to do them in the Instapot. So first thing I want to do is start sauteing up my sausages and my ham. And this is just a regular andouille style sausage. I have one link that I've cut in rings, and then I have some ham. Now this is not the traditional Louisiana ham. This is a ham steak I got at the market, and I've cut it into cubes. I can't get that fancy ham steak, so I'm using the andouille. And if you want to add some extra smokiness, you can always add a ham hock as well. But we're going with the ham and the sausages today. Going in. I've got my Instapot set on Sauté, and I do have a little bit of oil in the bottom to help it along. We're just going to stir it up and let it get a little brown. So of course there's a couple of other things that we always add. We have to have the Holy Trinity, our onions, our celery, and our bell pepper. I've added three cloves of garlic, sliced, chopped. Then I have 1 tablespoon of no salt Cajun seasoning and about a half a teaspoon of smoky paprika. That smoky paprika will help add the smoke to the beans that I don't have without the ham hock. I have my 2 bay leaves. And one of the other things that we see a lot in the traditional red beans and rice, or red beans in the Louisiana style, is we'll see a piece of pickled pork. I don't have pickled pork either, but I am going to add some vinegar from my pepper sauce, and that'll give me a little bit of peppery, add the little bit of vinegar to kind of add that pickled flavor to it. So we'll be adding that in. As soon as this browns, I'm going to take it out, put it back on the plate, saute the vegetables. Let's see how we're doing. Oh, that looks really good. I think we just got a couple more minutes to go. It'll be nice and brown. I'm just going to let it sit tight for a second and talk about red beans and rice. So red beans are our kidney beans, and you can see them here. Now these are the traditional Louisiana brand that I get, but any brand will do. I don't use the little Mexican ones, but I hear they're really good if you use the little Mexican red beans. They're really, really good. But these are the traditional Louisiana style kidney beans because I can get these at my grocery, so I use those. Also, I do wash and rinse my beans. Anytime I make beans, I wash and rinse my beans. I think just to make sure there's no rocks and dirt in there. So those are there. We're going to have about 6 cups of water in here, and then we're going to put the lid on and Instapot it for about 40 minutes. We'll check it, see how tender they are. If we need to add more time, we can. We'll have rice to go with it and a little baguette. And that's our dinner for tonight. Sounds wonderful, doesn't it? Let's see how our sausage looks. Oh yeah, I think we're breaking down pretty good. I think we can take this out now. Now this will continue to make its own fat on through the processing. But I think we're good. We've got a little bit of oil in there left. So I'm going to go ahead and toss in some celery. my green bell pepper, my onions and garlic. We're just going to stir these for a few minutes. They won't take long. Also, my ham and my sausage is salty, so I'm not sure I want to add any salt until we get to the end. At the end, if I taste it, I'll adjust my salt and pepper at that point. You can add more cayenne if you'd like to give, build the flavor a bit if you want some extra cayenne in there. So that is always a nice addition. You can always add a little Worcestershire in there as well to bump the flavor. But red beans were traditionally cooked on Mondays because Mondays, for some reason or another, was wash day. So on the day you had to wash all the laundry, do all the linens, wash all the clothes, hang them on the line to dry, and then haul them all back in. It was easy to put the pot of beans on in the morning and then let it soak and let it cook, slow cook all day. And you didn't have to worry about it. So that was the tradition. We eat red beans with our rice all year round in the Cajun style. We really like it. But we like our beans too. All right, we're starting to get a little bit soft here. Now I usually make regular white rice, long grain white rice you can use. You can use ready rice, jasmine or basmati, or you can just have no rice if you want. But traditionally it's white rice on the bottom, your beans on the top. Now when we get to the end, one of the things that we do is we'll add to it, take some of our beans and we'll smash them and add that creamy inner bean to the broth to give it a creamier texture on your broth. So that always helps. Also, one important note I want to make is that you can do this on the stove. It is wonderful on the stove, but it is a slow cook process. And most important, because red beans seem to have a tougher skin, they will have to be soaked overnight. I would soak them at least 6 to 8 hours. So you soak them overnight, next morning you rinse them, and then you can start your beans on the stove and let them slow simmer until they're tender, anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, maybe a little longer. But that's pretty much the same. And it's really good that way too. I just know how much everybody loves Instapot recipes, so I'm doing this in the Instapot. I think we're ready to go ahead and go in with all our beans. All our seasonings. A few splashes of our pepper sauce. I think that was about 5 rounds. And here goes our water.